Network shows. Join Rick Brooks and Mike Kogel as they explore the TV of the 70s and 80s through hand-picked episodes of their favorite and not-so-favorite series.
Welcome to the Battle of the Network Show's holiday special. We've got our eggnog spiked with vanilla extract, got the fire rumbling, and we're going to talk about a couple different holiday specials and also do a holiday TV guide game.
Yes, I'm feeling festive. I'm ready to go.
Yeah, we're also wearing Santa hats.
Indeed.
And we have a few guests again. Hermie, that's his name, right? Hermie?
Yes.
The dental elf, and Rudolph from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. We're not talking about that, though.
You should be so lucky.
Yeah. So, we're going to start with a Rankin and Bass production, however. The Leprechaun's Christmas Gold. Do you have any information about this? Basic information?
As a matter of fact, I do have some very basic information. I do know that it originally aired December 23rd, 1981 on the ABC television network. And I do think this is one of the lesser-known Rankin and Bass specials, and I don't know about you, but I don't remember. It's a half hour, not an hour like many of the more famous ones, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't know about you, Mike, but I don't remember this actually being on television when I was a kid. I saw it years later when ABC Family would do their 30 Days of Christmas or whatnot, and I've kind of discovered or rediscovered it that way, but I really don't have any memories of watching it when it originally aired. I don't know if this aired every year. I certainly don't think it was one of those perennial holiday classics that was on every year.
No, I don't remember it either until I watched it on DVD, and I think you had told me about it. I feel like maybe it didn't.
Yeah.
It got one airing. One and done. Yeah, but also December 23rd, that just makes it like less likely to be seen in a weird way, I think.
You think
just because it's so close to Christmas that, lots of other stuff's going on. Whereas, like, if it aired a couple weeks before Christmas.
That's true, but maybe. It's funny you say that because my perception was always like as a kid, I don't know what there might have been some optimal time, like maybe like 2 weeks before Christmas to start seeing the specials. And then at some point, it seemed like over the years, they started showing like my favorite holiday specials earlier and earlier every year, like almost closer to Thanksgiving. And as recently as a couple of years ago, it seems like I would see like, oh, they already aired Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's way too early.
Yeah.
So I guess, so what do you think? What's the sweet spot for
watching
Christmas specials?
Be December, at the very least.
That makes sense.
Maybe like the second and third week. Yeah.
But you think the 23rd is a little too close?
That's possible. I don't know. I don't remember this.
Yeah.
But I do remember watching things sometimes on Christmas Eve. I feel like the Little Drummer Boy would be on Christmas Eve.
Right.
Yeah. What else do you have?
Well, not a whole lot. This is, like I said, it's not one of the more well-known ones. It hasn't been rerun to death. So on the one hand, it's good because it's something different. It's something unique. And I guess I will mention that although I saw it on ABC Family, which is now Freeform, when they did their annual Christmas festival, this is available on DVD. There's multiple combinations of these Rankin and Bass specials,
right.
and I think you can probably find this on probably 4 or 5 different DVD collections at this point. But it might not be the lead dog in the pack on these Christmas box sets, but it's easy to find on DVD. If you haven't seen it and you want to watch it, I'd say give it a shot. You can probably find it at a reasonable price with about 5 or 6 other specials that you might actually remember watching as a kid.
Right. Yeah. On mine, it's on the disc with the Grinch.
Okay. Yeah.
And a couple of the Pinocchio's Christmas, which I don't know if I've ever seen that. That's a Rankin and Bass one.
Yeah.
I feel like that might be a little weird too.
Yeah.
I do know that I think this was their second to last stop motion special.
That sounds right. Yeah.
There's like one other Santa one.
People associate Rankin and Bass with the stop motion. Not everything they did, of course,
right,
was stop motion, but this one is, and there is, I guess, a little bit of semi-traditional animation near the end that we might get to. But
I want to say some positive things about it before we get into kind of maybe its weirder parts. It has like all of them, I think, like really high production value. Like I mean, in terms of the puppets and the costumes and the sets and all of that, and the DVD I have looks like really like they had a really good negative or something, because it just looks like has a nice look to it. And it is maybe good and bad, but it seems like maybe it's intentional on Rankin and Bass's part, or maybe they just liked the sound of how they did music. But the music fits in, like the production style of music fits in perfectly with like Rudolph and Frosty and all of their specials have a sort of sound that to me is kind of dated, and probably dated in 1981.
Yeah.
Like it's a very almost like early 60s sound. Like not rock and roll, but pop, but just, I don't know, there's just like a quality to it. Like I think sometimes like people singing in unison and things like that. And
Right. Yeah, it definitely has, and there's at least like one or two of the little musical motifs that go through the episode or the special that sort of remind me. I couldn't quite place it if it was directly from another Rankin Bass special, or
Right.
if it just reminded me of it, or if I remembered it from seeing this one before. But yeah, I agree. It definitely seems to match the house style.
yeah, and I think
musically.
it is the same composer that they always used.
Yeah.
So that's nice because, it makes a continuity between those specials, even though there's almost no continuity in terms of story between any of their Christmas specials.
Right.
Like it's not a shared universe.
No.
Except for when they did Rudolph and Frosty's Shiny New Year, which is like the Avengers
Yeah.
of the Rankin Bass verse.
Yeah, there's not a lot of interconnectedness going on with this one, but yet, as you say, like with the production values, the style, and even the music, it does fit in very nicely with all the other ones. And you know right away that it is a Rankin Bass, yet it
Yeah.
does have some things about it that are unique.
Right.
And certainly, even among their Christmas specials, it definitely stands out. So I would agree with all those comments. I mean, it definitely has some virtues to it. I think most of the things that make it less memorable than some of the others are more story related. But yeah,
Right.
as far as like the actual puppets goes, I didn't particularly find any of the songs in it. There's like maybe 3 or 4 songs.
Yeah.
I didn't find any of them really memorable.
Christmas in Killarney is not original to that production, so that's a little more memorable just because I've heard it elsewhere. But
Right.
yeah, the other ones I tended to focus in on what they were trying to tell us, and the fact that they weren't giving us enough information.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't. They were just sort of Irishy kind of songs.
Yeah. I mean, they were fine. But now then again, I've seen Rudolph probably 25 times at least over the years. So
Yeah.
of course those songs are going to stick in my head now. So it's hard to judge. But
Right. Yeah. There's nothing of the level of the Heat Miser and Cold Miser songs either.
true.
Like showcases.
Now, one good thing about it is I'll say here that it's narrated and told by, or however the credit goes to, the great Art Carney.
Yeah.
Is Blarney Killicallarney.
Yeah.
Is that it? Blarney Killicallarney. So
Yeah.
he's the narrator, and he's telling us the story, and there's, I guess, sort of a flashback within a flashback structure here as he's telling the story of the Leprechaun Christmas Gold. And I liked Art
That's
Carney.
right.
I mean, he's got some credibility as an Irish, of Irish descent, obviously, and
Yeah.
and he's charming enough as the
fine.
host and narrator. So I did enjoy that.
Yeah.
I also like the fact that one thing that's interesting about it is like the color scheme. I mean, surprise, surprise, they use a lot of green in this special, but it gives it a different look. So there's definitely not a sameness to it. It definitely has a distinct appearance because of these green color motifs, and even when they do the sort of, there's a Christmas sequence in the middle where there's sort of the Christmas in
Killarney.
Killarney, yes.
Yeah.
Now, the one drawback I would give about that, I would point out, is as far as Christmas specials go, this is a lot more gold and a lot less Christmas than maybe I
Right.
would have liked. And that one bit in the middle is pretty much the extent of the Christmas.
The Christmas connection is pretty tenuous.
Yeah, there's references to it being Christmas time when this adventure is going on, but other than that, you
Right.
don't get a lot of necessarily Christmas cheer. Although they do try to tell, sort of a heartwarming tale at the end. But
Yeah. And there's like this Christmas connection to this mythology they're making up.
yes,
Like that's important, but it's kind of weird to just that. I don't know. You're dealing with all these sort of magical creatures, and yet there's a Christmas, which is, of course, technically a religious holiday.
Yeah.
But
The show throws a lot of mythology and a lot of sort of made-up rules at you.
Yeah.
So maybe it's better that they didn't try to integrate everything in and combine like Christmas mythology with Irish mythology and with
Right.
Rankin and Bass mythology.
Yeah.
But there's a lot going on in here, which is why I've seen this a couple times over the years, and I have to watch pretty closely to try to figure out what exactly is going on.
Yeah, I'm a little vague on. I mean, I think I know all the details. They just don't entirely connect.
Yeah, it's almost like maybe the running time, the 24 minutes or whatever, almost hurts this because they could have fleshed out some of that stuff if they had done an hour-long special. But we got the half hour, so
The basic story starts with Art Carney, Blarney, starts narrating it, and then we meet Dinty Doyle, a cabin boy on a ship, and his captain sends him off to this tiny island to retrieve a pine tree from it.
yeah, he'd forgotten to procure a Christmas tree, I guess,
Yeah.
for the ship's decorations. So.
Right. And Dinty seems he's mildly put out by this.
Understandably so.
You know, what a fine thing to be doing on almost Christmas. So he dutifully chops down this tree, and a bunch of water and bubbles shoot out of it, along with Mag the Hag,
Right.
who's a banshee. Has been apparently trapped all these years, many years. We'll find out under this tree, and now she's back, and she wants the leprechaun's gold.
Yes.
And I think this is what happens. She immediately causes a rainstorm, which, when it clears, makes a rainbow, which then reveals the
points the
Christmas
way
gold to
the-
Dinty.
Yes.
And he goes in this shamrock-covered hillside opens up, and he goes in this gold mine or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, and then I don't know if I'm skipping too much here, but then we get the backstory of how the leprechauns discovered the gold,
Right.
and they were mining it and procuring it in these mines, and then the banshee caused an earthquake, which caused this remote island that
Yeah.
Dinty lands on. It got separated from the mainland of Ireland
Right.
because of this earthquake.
Yeah.
So the gold is isolated in this one little patch of land.
Right. Which now, this is probably question one for me. Mm-hmm. They show a little song about them mining the gold, and as Blarney tells us, there were basically two leprechaun sort of clans. There's his clan, the Killarneys, who mine gold, and then the clan of his wife, whose name I'm forgetting now, but it's a ridiculous name.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like the Osod Busters or something like that. And they make shoes.
Yeah, there's shoemakers and
Shoemakers. So it's really two questions. One, the leprechauns are mining the gold, but their only purpose to mine the gold seems to be to make it into stuff that they then hoard.
yes.
They're not even doing anything with it themselves other than the hoarding.
Right. It's like the ownership of it is all in and of itself. There's no inherent value in the gold.
Yeah.
They don't even seem to particularly.
Is this just their cosmological job to hoard gold?
Yeah, like
And
they're.
to have this endless cycle of the banshee trying to get the gold?
Yeah, it's like the doozers on Fraggle Rock or something that just build for its own sake, like over and over again, and that's like how they sustain themselves.
It's kind of depressing.
Yeah, that's a good point though. And actually, one thing I wondered is they don't really establish why the gold is so important to anybody. It's like the gold is only important because it's theirs.
Yeah.
And like when Blarney gets involved, it's like, well, it's his gold.
Right.
Like he doesn't say like I don't want the hag to get the gold because then she'll do this and then she'll ruin the whole international monetary system by devaluing the gold standard. He basically says no because it's my gold and she can't have it.
Right. And
Which
she's
reasonable enough, but
I mean, I think if she gets it, she won't turn into she needs to get it before Christmas morning,
yeah,
or she'll turn into tears,
right,
which she's made of.
yeah,
And the way you can see identify a banshee for all of you out there is they're always crying. Mm-hmm. So if you meet someone crying, banshee.
yes,
So, which maybe fits in with some ideas about like Irish repression and
Whoa, that's pretty
Hey,
deep.
yeah,
Could be, yeah.
it's-
That's
if you meet someone crying,
yeah,
if someone is expressing their emotions
yeah. They must be a
through
banshee.
salty discharge.
Right.
So, and then the other question is, who are they making shoes for?
Yeah, I don't know that. That's
They
definitely not covered in this special.
no, they make them all the colors of the rainbow, which is pretty neat. And there's something in the song about the dancing, and I don't know, like the songs just don't quite answer these questions that I have. But
No, they
basic
don't.
world building kind of questions. What's the purpose of all this? Seems like, well, that's just what they do. They make shoes. And of course, since they combined both clans, like both clans are now gold making and shoe making clans, and this, he tells us they spent years. He lists things, one of them being begetting, which I thought eating, sleeping, and begetting. I think.
Yeah, well,
And soon he and his wife are the oldest leprechauns. So the thing about his wife is important too, because the banshee tries to trick her into giving her the gold.
yes, because here's the catch, as Blarney gleefully tells Dinty.
Right.
Here's the great thing is, yeah, she's always going to try to get the gold, the hag is, but she can't just steal it.
Right.
You have to give it to her.
Yeah.
Or it doesn't count.
Right.
Now, that sounds pretty good. That sounds like, oh, well, you got her now. But apparently, though, the hag has these unlimited powers, so
Yeah.
that seems like a pretty good thing that you can use to exploit, the hag's weakness. However, the hag can transform herself into anything. Mm-hmm. She has these vast supernatural powers. So really, it's not that big a deal for her to convince somebody to give them. I mean, in this special, she uses various, like she poses like the guardian angel of Blarney's wife. But it seems like she could probably just hypnotize people into giving her the gold, and it would be the same deal. So
Right.
it kind of defeats the purpose of that hitch.
Yeah, I guess she doesn't have hypnosis powers. We didn't learn about those powers, at least.
We didn't, but it seems
She's-
like she has plenty of other options
Yeah.
available without just snatching the gold.
And I guess she goes to the shoemaking side of the family because they don't know all this information. And maybe because Blarney's name is Blarney, they just don't buy into it.
Yeah, they don't. Believe
That's
him.
just a dumb myth.
Yeah.
That's like regular people talking about leprechauns.
Right.
There's no such thing.
That could
Leprechauns.
be, but how wrong they are, though.
Yeah. So, and of course, Dinty's woken her up, and she knows where the gold is now. The other thing is, I don't think Blarney and his wife had this argument in the past, and he kind of moved into the gold mine. Then he stayed there.
Yeah,
And
right.
they never explain why he stayed there.
Well,
Like all the other, because no one else came to the mine to mine that night, and that's when the earthquake happened. So I don't know if he was trapped. He must have been trapped.
you think he was trapped?
I think the earthquake trapped him there.
Oh.
But no, because he left it.
Yeah.
There was the earthquake, and he left it, and because you also learn how the banshee ended up under this tree, because he goes to the Lord of the Leprechauns.
Yeah. Did I mention that they throw a lot at you in this
Yeah.
the mythology?
Right.
Yes. There's a Lord of the Leprechauns.
Right. Whose name apparently is Patrick.
Yes.
But he's not Saint Patrick.
No.
He's a different Patrick because he tricks her, the banshee, into showing how she's made of tears. And as soon as she turns into tears, Blarney comes out with a pine cone that has some connection to St. Patrick. I watched this twice in the last 24 hours, and I can't remember what the
Right.
connection is. He blessed it or something.
Yeah. Well.
It's from a tree he planted.
Yeah. So I mean, basically,
and they stuff it in a hole, and then that turns into a pine tree.
yeah, they cover her up.
Yeah.
They shovel over her and build a tree to cover
Right.
her, so she's trapped there until some idiot cabin boy comes and chops the tree down.
Yeah.
Despite, he does that, and the leprechauns are sort of telling him not to, but I don't know if he can hear them or.
No,
It seems like they
he
just
saw
don't get to
them
him in
because
time.
he's like, oh, little people.
Yeah.
But-
he's bemused by them, but
Then they're just kind of watching
yeah.
from behind like ancient stones and things.
Yeah, I thought they might be going for some kind of ecological message there by showing the danger that happens when you cut down this one tree on the island or whatever. But
Yeah.
that's not really not what they were doing, I guess.
No.
Yeah.
So now, and while Blarney is telling all this story, they're waiting for their tea to cool off, which the banshee, through a hole in the hill, has poisoned with some sort of, well, you said hypnosis, sort of hypnosis powder.
Yeah.
It seems specifically geared towards making you more into giving stuff, I think. There's something about that.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very weird explanation.
Right. And then finally Blarney drinks some of the tea, and she thinks, and we think, because he's kind of blurry-eyed, and that he's going to give her the gold. And instead he tricks her, and he gives it to Dinty.
Right.
So now she has to get Dinty, to give her the gold.
Right. So you think that I guess she has already used up the iced tea or the brewed tea gimmick. So
Right, yeah.
she can't. I mean, I don't know what she's going to do at this
And
point.
maybe she can only do one trick once.
Yeah, maybe she could go get Bill Cosby to brew something up and have him slip something into. They'd trust him after
In 1981.
they'd
sure.
ignore the hag. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. So, yeah, she basically turns herself into
A lovely lass.
yes, a lovely lass that just happened to have be shipwrecked and washes up on the shore.
Right, and lies. She says the ship that Dinty was on crashed.
And
Spoiler, that's a lie.
yeah, well, she's crying.
She is crying. It's understandable that she's crying.
Well,
Maybe not for
it's been
many hours.
well established by this point, though.
Yeah,
that
you can't trust
any
anyone.
sign of emotion with tears is a clear indication that that person is a banshee and not
Yeah.
to be trusted.
But let's give Dinty some credit. He just had all of this stuff that we don't understand thrown at him, too.
That's
He's
a good
probably
point.
still in his head, but why do they mine the gold?
Yes.
It's my gold now, but why?
Yeah. It's a nagging question, and
Yeah.
plus he's been at sea a long time on a boat full of a lot of roguish swabbies.
Right.
It's been a long time since he's seen another female that's not a leprechaun, so he's probably more inclined to go along with whatever she says, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Although still,
He's a little dumb.
it's pretty apparent when what's going on as
Yeah.
soon as it happens. Especially, this is another case of where if this were like 50 minutes instead of 24 minutes, maybe they could have put like a song in between there.
Right.
But instead, they pretty much just establish what everything the hag's up to, and then Dinty walks away and like, oh hey, here's a crying woman
Yeah.
washed up on the shore. So
And I think he does. I think that Christmas in Killarney is in that area
okay, well which is
because she appears in his
Yeah.
his imagined version of Christmas in Killarney, like they kiss in it.
right. So he's describing like the song Christmas in Killarney
Yeah.
is his description of like this idealized version of Christmas, and he's like
Right.
telling her that they can share it, I guess, or.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little sequence. But yeah, this is the most Christmassy sequence in
Right.
the whole special. Is
Yeah, and that's fun. It does have like
trimming
leprechauns
trees.
dressed up as Santa Claus.
yeah, and kind of going with that, and everybody's wearing green, and everything is green, so you don't see like a lot of the red and stuff. It kind of keeping to that color motif, this vision of Christmas, which again, it's a nice kind of non-traditional look at Christmas. Although, yeah, I guess it's not like the spray painted fake Christmas trees you see in Charlie Brown Christmas, but
No.
it's definitely a different visual. I kind of enjoyed that sequence.
Yeah, I did too.
It was very short though, maybe just a couple minutes.
Yeah, and it's a catchy song. It's a very foot stomping kind of Irish song. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could maybe do a river dance to it or something.
Yeah, go into a nice pub, get into a bar fight,
Yeah.
and then kind of like buy each other a pint and sing this song and make up and
Yeah.
get ready to fight in another 15 minutes.
Sure. Yeah.
I should mention here that I do have some Irish descent.
I do too. Yeah.
So
We're totally allowed to do
so we're
this.
allowed to include every Irish stereotype we can think of.
Yeah. Hey, Blarney Killarney mentions that he's the one that grows potatoes,
Oh, that's right. Yes.
which made me think maybe this would be set during the potato famine. There would be some historical thing. And,
Well, again,
I know it is historically accurate to how the leprechauns returned to the mainland. Certainly how they got separated from the mainland.
that's how
That's
the actual
historical
leprechauns.
fact.
That's
Yeah.
historical. Okay.
Mhm. Yeah.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I won't doubt the bona fides of this special then.
Right. So back to the hag dressed up as the beautiful young lady or lass, and she convinces him he's going to give her the gold, and he says he will. He commits to that, and then she puts him into the sleep of 100 Christmases.
The sleep of 100 Christmases.
Yeah. Which I assume means he'll be asleep for 100 years.
Yeah.
And the leprechauns think he's dead. But then the Lord of the Leprechauns appears on a cloud
Yeah.
and creates a rainbow. And the light of the rainbow wakes him up. So he's really only out for like 10 seconds.
Yeah. It's far less than 100 Christmases.
Right. I think it's the light from the rainbow, because then there's also a sunrise. So it could have been that too. Or just the light from a leprechaun floating on a cloud.
Right. Well, yes, it all seems to be tied together because
Yeah.
when he wakes up, he makes a larger point about what has revived him.
Right.
And that thing is
The love
love.
that's because Blarney and his wife, Faye, have reunited.
Yes, after years of Blarney doing the equivalent of sleeping on the sofa
Right.
but
in
going
a
to an
very
actual,
cushy sofa. Like, I mean, he had a fireplace and it
True.
looked like a nice place to live.
Yeah.
Sure,
Just
it's
a little bachelor
underground,
pad. Yeah.
but he's surrounded by gold.
True.
Imagine what he could do with all that gold. Well, he could look at it.
You could swim in it, have
Swim
it,
in it.
throw it up in his head, like Uncle Scrooge. And,
Yeah, climb in the pots,
Right.
cook with it.
We don't actually see him doing any of that, but
No.
yeah, you're right. He's. I guess he's got everything he needs except the love of his wife.
That's right. He can't do any baguetting.
Yeah. Well, never mind.
Yeah. We have a clean rating for iTunes.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So but it still seems like the hag is going to get the gold, despite that he's woken up and he said, "No, I don't give you the gold." And it seems by the rules of this thing that should be enough.
Yeah. If
He
he's
should
just,
be like, "Oh, well, you take it back."
he's
Okay.
allowed to take it back. Yeah.
Yeah, but apparently that's not. And she's in she's about to touch it, and then the sun comes up, and she's like, "Ow, it's Christmas!" And she turns into tears.
Yeah. So it's too late, I guess, for another.
Yeah.
Like, when does the?
Right. So I think let's pretend this is what they planned.
Okay.
All of Blarney's stalling around the tea and being long-winded in his storytelling
Right.
was also a delaying action in case it was like a backup plan.
Kind of like.
If just giving the kid the gold doesn't work, because he can probably see Dinty is not the brightest bulb
Yes.
or brightest candle headlamp,
True. True.
that he'll delay enough that Christmas morning will come before she gets her hands on that gold. And then she's tears again.
Running out the clock, basically.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a combination of things worked. The Lord of the Leprechauns, his magical powers, the love
helps.
of the Leprechauns, the love of Dinty for something or other.
Yeah.
It inspired him.
Right.
So, yeah. So on December 26th, the hag can start again,
I
and then
think-
she's got the whole rest
yes,
of the year.
the whole
Okay.
cycle starts again,
Yeah.
much like Norse mythology.
Yes.
It's a cycle. Ragnarok happens, and then it all starts again.
The whole miserable, joyless cycle
Right.
of desperate attempts to cling onto this gold
Yeah.
for no apparent reason
Right.
will continue.
Yeah.
Is it any wonder that they might resort to libations to
Yeah.
to distract them from this grueling cycle?
But now the Dinty has the gold, so I think that might have liberated the leprechauns from the gold too.
Oh, well, I'm
They
sure
can
that's
just-
what Dinty's going to tell them. Hey, you
Yeah.
guys don't really need this gold. Now you're free from, being
Right.
shackled to it, which
I'm
I
gonna
guess that is kind of how they,
Yeah, and they're gonna just make shoes again.
they
Focus on that part of their life, their shoemaking.
well, good
And
for
maybe
them.
Blarney will just focus on hanging out with his wife and telling long stories and
Well, that'll probably
you know.
keep him happy.
creating mischief where he can.
Yeah. And Dinty will take the gold, go back to,
Free
he come from.
Ireland from England.
free Ireland from England.
Yeah, because it definitely set in like olden times.
Yeah.
His ship is like a ship with sails. He's not on a steamer or anything.
True, yes.
Yeah.
First, I think, though, he might buy out that shipping company
Right.
just to stick it to the captain that made him go out in a little dinghy to this island.
Right.
So he's going to become, this big shipping lord.
Yeah, and maybe he's going to turn Killarney into the equivalent of Santa Claus, Indiana. Christmas year round.
Yeah, Christmas year round with the leprechauns.
Yeah.
That vision he revealed to us in that musical number
Right. That's
will be a reality.
right, and he, of course, will charge for entrance.
Of course.
Yeah,
It's, a fee to cover expenses.
Yeah, it's a theme park.
Yeah.
And you can hang out with leprechauns. You can buy shoes from leprechauns, and it's Christmas every day.
Yeah, well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah, dancing, drinking.
But you don't get to see any of that gold. That gold will be
No.
safely tucked away.
Right. You might see some stuff painted to look like gold.
Yeah.
Like a display, the leprechaun's Christmas gold, and it's really just like wood.
I think you're onto something.
Yeah.
Sounds like a beautiful vision, but
Yes.
just make sure while you're...
I take back my suggestion that he's not very bright.
Well, you're projecting a lot that he's going to come up with this.
Yeah.
If he comes up with this plan, I'll give him some credit.
Yeah, and maybe the real version of that lass will be in town, and she'll come up with it.
No, you never know.
Or maybe Blarney, Killarney. He's clearly a clever leprechaun.
Yeah, I imagine he'll get a piece of the action somehow.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
He'll definitely be.
And then he'll hoard it.
Yeah. Or that piece of the action.
Oh, got pounds.
Just when you're doing all that beholding of this beautiful vision,
Yeah.
Not be getting, mind you, but
Right.
be holding. Just make sure you don't get tears in your eyes. Because if you do, everybody's going to call you out as a banshee, and you'll be driven out of there
That's right.
like you were a snake or something like that. You'll be,
Yeah.
on the slow boat back to England, I guess.
Yeah, or maybe just some island.
Yeah, some other
Other
deserted
island, yeah.
Yeah, maybe how many of these splinter islands? I guess they make it look like there's just one little island broke
Right.
off when the hag made her giant
Yeah.
earthquake. But maybe there's other islands
And
all
it's
over the place.
Not just a break, but like it's a peninsula, and like a good portion of the peninsula just disappears under the ocean.
Yeah, that's
Did anyone live there?
I hope not. Not for long.
Many leprechauns die.
Yeah,
Is that really why he stayed in the mine? Is that a guilt?
maybe. Yeah,
Oh, so many leprechauns died.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a grim thought to be sure. I can understand why they didn't cover that part of the story.
Right.
Maybe that's something better left unsaid. Yes.
We almost forgot when the banshee discovers that it's Christmas. A giant wave washes over her from the ocean,
Yes.
and this wave is made out of cell animation.
Yeah, it's very jarring.
It is. It's nicely animated.
Yeah.
It's
The juxtaposition of the stop motion and that cell animation. It's a very bizarre moment, but
Yeah.
it is the big finale, I guess, the
Right.
big action finale. So
But it's not like they couldn't show water gushing because they had already shown water gushing
Yeah.
when she got released from her prison.
yeah, it must have been a deliberate artistic decision to do it like that.
Yeah.
But it's a curious one.
Yeah.
And I think people were complaining back then about the effects.
I think they complained to the FCC.
They complained to the FCC.
Like, you're mixing animation.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't
just-
do that.
It's just not done.
No.
Yeah, well, people complain about bad CGI today, and
Yep.
they don't know how good they had it back, 1981. It's unique, again,
It
another
is.
unique thing. I think maybe that's the best thing I can say about this. It's not a bad special, but it's certainly not one I feel that I need to revisit every year.
No, it feels like it was made for the wrong holiday, too.
Yeah.
If it was the Leprechaun's St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, right. Christmas, it's definitely, no pun intended, honest, shoehorned in to fit the Christmas theme. It
Right.
doesn't seem like there's any real need for it. Like you say, the Christmas link is tenuous. At this point, I guess, though, they had already gone through Rudolph, Frosty, Santa Claus,
Jack Frost.
the Little Drummer Boy,
Yeah.
Just about every Christmas myth imaginable. The origin of Santa Claus, Mrs. Claus.
Right.
So they were definitely running out of ideas, I guess.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, I admire the fact that they took a whole different tack and tried like something new, but maybe there's a reason this isn't as fondly or as well remembered as some of those other specials, I guess. So
Yeah, that's no blarney.
that's indeed. This episode brought to you by Killicalarney Shoes. One size fits all, now in blue. This episode also brought to you by Doyle's Salt, made from the finest Banshee tears. This episode also brought to you by Dinty Doyle. He's got all the gold.
All right, now we're going to talk about the Family Circus Christmas, based on the venerable and long-running comic strip about the Keane family.
Yes, the much-loved comic strip about the Keane family.
Right.
Single panel, actually.
Single panel, except for on Sundays,
Sundays,
right?
yes.
Yeah. Which, I was skeptical when you pitched this that there would be any narrative to have. Like, Peanuts has, at least, definitely by the 70s, would have, like, storylines that went on for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Family Circus, it's a different joke every day.
Yeah, pretty much a joke a day. I think.
They might have like a running theme sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
they used to have things where maybe they'd go on vacation or something, and then there'd be some. But yeah, unlike Peanuts, definitely it's mostly like a gag strip.
Yeah.
With a different thing every day and usually one panel.
Right, and so the Keanes, there's Bill Keane, the dad,
Mm-hmm.
the mother, whose name I don't know.
Thel, I think Thelma.
Thelma,
He
okay.
calls her Thel.
Okay.
Short brunette, short dark hair.
Yeah, I think this is the order of the kids. Billy,
Yes.
the blonde oldest boy,
Yeah.
famous for his map making abilities,
Yes.
and he would also fill in for his dad every now and then.
Right.
Yeah.
Making the comic strip. Right.
With crayon. Dolly, the middle daughter, who, based on my memory of the comic strip and on this special, not a very flattering portrait of her. She seems a little mean and a little greedy.
Interesting. Okay.
Although she does show some concern for one of her brothers.
Right.
But she also makes a face. We'll talk about
Yeah,
that.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then Jeffy, the next brother, who is really the star of this special, which for some reason surprised me.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have picked him as our point of view character, but it actually makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then PJ, the baby.
Love old PJ.
Love good old
Always
PJ.
wearing his pajamas.
That's right. Yeah.
He's
And the pets.
Yeah.
So there are 2 dogs and a cat. Is that right?
Right.
So one of the dogs is Sam.
Right. Sam's kind of like the shaggy one.
Okay. What's the cat's name?
Kitty cat.
Kitty cat. And the other dog, Barfy.
Yeah, Barfy. The oldest pet, I think. It's a full house.
And it's great to see so in the opening credits, which I really enjoyed because they had a thing I like. I guess the only example I can think of really is the Brady Bunch, but I know other things did it where the characters are not. In this case, they're in I think they're in wreaths, but they look at each other, look up and down at each other.
Yeah.
But it says so. It goes through the parents and the kids, and then it shows 3 pets. So the word Barfy is on the TV screen. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's not something you usually associate with a Christmas special unless it's a office party gone wrong or somebody spiked the punch you weren't expecting. But that's the dog Barfy.
Yep, good old Barfy. So
yeah, that's the family.
Yep.
And there's other peripheral characters. We sort of hear about one of them in particular in this episode. But it's been around since for my gosh, 60 years now, and 50, 60 years, and it's still going. I think
kids haven't aged a day.
Well, I think his that's true. That's true. His Bill Keane died years ago, and his son his son Jeff took over the strip, and I think he still does it to this day.
Yeah.
And with many of the same themes and the same the same look of the characters.
Right.
Although it is a lot different than it was when it first started. Now, I loved the Family Circus growing up.
Yeah.
Not so much from reading it in the paper, but as with many comic strips, I grew up learning about it and reading it in the paperback books and collections.
Like from the book fair.
Yeah,
or
I don't know where but there's a big book. It was the Family Circus Treasury, which went way back to the old days of Family Circus and was a through the years compilation, probably covering 20 years of comic strips or whatever. And I love that book.
Yeah.
And I think I literally probably that one wore and was falling apart. But so I was always into Family Circus, but at some point over the years it became shorthand for saccharine,
right?
Cutesy kind of humor, and I guess that is what people think of it now, and that's why it's mocked and parodied.
Yeah.
But when the strip first started, it was much different, and even probably this special was in 1979, and probably even then it was tame. I would never say that it was an edgy panel or anything like that, but it was a little bit less. When it started out, it was more of a satire or a commentary on suburban life and family life, rather than what it seemed to become at some point was well, don't kids say funny things?
Right.
And that's kind of what people think of it now. But I think this is a little bit more of a throwback to not the early days. The early days of Family Circus, everybody did look a little different, and the dad would have a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, and it was more of a disengaged, stereotypical suburban kind of dad that was just there as background, as opposed to this warm, gentle Bill Keane that we see in this comic special and in the later years of Family Circus.
And they were actually in a circus.
They're actually in a circus, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Bill was a lion tamer.
Right.
And Thelma was actually his second wife. His first wife died in a tragic trapeze accident.
Yeah.
And then they moved on, and
Right.
So, yeah, I think this is, in some ways, I think, as it sounds like maybe you were, but I think people that watch this now would be quite surprised at how good this is. I think this is a very good special, and I think it's one of the more underrated cartoon specials, because this, again, this is never played at all anywhere as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, the version I watched was from some kind of repeat because it had like a CBS in stereo graphic on it.
Oh wow, so
Yeah.
that'd be like late '80s or something
Yeah,
probably.
yeah. I don't remember seeing it. I mean, it's kind of like the Leprechaun's Gold. There's something that seemed vaguely familiar about it, so maybe I did see it. I don't know.
What's
And I
funny
know
is-
there's an Easter one too.
Yeah, this
which-
company made a Valentine's one and an Easter one, and I remember those more, it seems like, than the Christmas one. The Christmas one, I just seem to remember watching it years after the fact, not when it was first on, but
Yeah.
it was NBC, December 18th, 1979 was when it premiered.
Yeah. It's got some things that I think are definitely familiar from like the Peanuts specials. It's got a kind of jazzy score, and they're clearly using real kids to do the voices of the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the animations. Well, it's in the drawing style of Family Circus, so it's not similar in a way, but it has some similarities. But it seemed like they might have I don't know, rotoscoped some of the kids stuff because they move. Sometimes they really move like real kids. I think,
That's
especially
interesting,
like Jeffy just has just like a nice sort of. I don't know how old he's supposed to be, like a toddler. Like 5 or something.
I think maybe even a little bit younger. I'm
Yeah.
thinking it's like Billy is like 7 or 8, I think. Dolly is 6 or 7, and Jeffy is like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Maybe like a year or two off here and there. But that's and
Yeah.
then PJ is basically like
He's a baby.
yeah. PJ doesn't talk, so
Right.
He's maybe yeah.
He does seem to be walking though.
He does walk a little bit, and
Yeah.
it's definitely a household full of kids and animals and stuff. But overall, this special is not. And even some of the old Family Circus cartoons, there'd be it'd be a little bit more frenetic, and this is a pretty gentle special, I would say.
Yeah.
It's really not just. It's almost like one way it differs from like a Charlie Brown Christmas is they do mention heaven, and there's sort of like a quasi-religious element there, but they don't really explicitly. It's a much more secular
Right.
look at some of these like themes, and in a way, it has some grown-up feelings to it because much
yeah.
the same way Charlie Brown Christmas explores melancholy feelings around the holidays, commercialization. This special is surprisingly
It's about something.
it's a meditation on loss and
Yeah, I think we should hold off a little bit because the way that ultimately gets presented is there's like a bit of a turn. I mean, it gets presented a little bit, but then when it really hits in, it's also in the middle of this crazy dream sequence,
yes.
which is really my favorite part of the whole thing. But yeah, let's work our way up to that, to the
All right.
specifics of that. But it does definitely distinguish it, I think, from a lot of other holiday specials, Christmas specials. So it opens with very real kind of scene. Jeffy and Dolly snooping in the closet for Christmas gifts, and then Mom catches him. And I gotta say, the kids look really like the comic characters, like really well done. The parents seem a little off to me, but that might just be my memory. But I mean, it's fine. And she threatens them with Santa Claus. And then Jeffy, I really love. This was the first moment where I was really just like, I think, all in with this. Jeffy goes to his room, and he imagines or hallucinates or sees Santa Claus sitting on a chest, writing on his list, or wagging his finger. I think in that.
Yeah.
But Santa Claus is only it's only the outline of him. He's transparent, much like the famous Not Me character from the Family Circus.
Right.
Who would show up when the kids would, someone would do something mischievous or just bad, and they would all say "Not me," and you'd see the little "Not me" ghost running around.
Right. And also Not Me's
Oh yeah, there's
female Ida No,
I didn't.
who also showed up. Yes. But definitely the same kind of look. Yeah, that was a
Yeah.
nice little touch.
Yeah, I like that, and it's really setting up what the story is about, which is that Jeffy has a lot of hallucinations. No.
Yes.
Jeffy's
Jeffy's got issues.
Jeff is very concerned about the Santa threat is very real to him. And then he goes and tells Dolly, and of course they come back and Santa's gone
Yeah.
because he's in his mind. Or maybe he's not in his mind. I'm still not sure. By the end of the special.
Well, it's got that great ambiguity that all Christmas specials have, where
That's right. Yeah.
you wonder, did Santa really arrive?
Right.
So that's good. Yeah. But yeah, is the other kids, even though they all believe in Santa, as of course they should.
Yeah.
They are skeptical that Jeffy is actually seeing Santa Claus.
Right.
They don't buy that.
Of course. And part of that's probably jealousy.
Yeah. Why would he just show himself to Jeffy and
Right.
not to Billy? He's the oldest.
Yeah. And of course, and I think Billy at some point tells him, if you keep lying, no one's going to ever believe you.
Right. When you really need.
It's a good point.
Billy lays it all out there.
Yeah. He's wise for his age.
He is.
And then they want to decorate the Christmas tree, and the mom says, well, they have to wait for the dad. But they can get stuff out. They can get the boxes out. They can't actually get the decorations out, but they can get the boxes from
They can.
a kind of terrifying-looking basement.
Yeah, they can go into their clearly unfinished basement
Right.
and reach up on high shelves.
Yeah.
And pull the heavy boxes down from those shelves and drag them all the way up the stairs. That's nice of her to let them do that.
Even PJ carries a box.
Sure. Well, he's part of it. He needs to chip in.
Right. So they bring the boxes in, and then Jeffy kind of goes snooping in one of those boxes. Now, I don't know why they couldn't open the boxes, other than maybe there's some delicate things in there, or it's just a matter of her teaching patience.
Yeah, maybe she just didn't want them to make a big mess and get everything all over the place.
So she pulls a little trick on them. She picks up the phone and says, "Hello, Santa Claus."
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You
She's
want to make sure the kids are acting okay?
she's doing a little Bob Newhart routine.
Yeah.
And it totally works on them.
Yeah, and Jeffy freaks out and runs into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And he looks out the window, and I liked this one even more. Santa Claus is like sitting on the telephone wires, talking like the telephone that like a telephone repairman would use, talking to the mom. And that's when he gets Billy, and Billy tells him about "Don't cry, wolf," basically.
Yes, that scene would support the idea that Jeffy is hallucinating these things because we know that Santa wasn't actually on the phone with.
That's right.
Or maybe he was. Maybe she actually really did call Santa Claus.
Yeah. Although she did it in a way, because this confused me a little bit. She did it in a way as if she were answering the phone.
Yeah.
And yet the phone didn't ring. And I was like, did it ring?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh wait, so she played her trick on me too.
She got all of us. I'm surprised Billy fell for it. He's pretty sharp, but
He is.
they all basically drop their stuff and take off when she does that. So,
Yeah.
So it worked.
And finally, when Dad comes home, he's having a bad week at whatever his job
He's
is.
been working very hard.
Very hard, yeah. They want him to set up the tree, and he does. And little important things happen, like they make sure that he turns the bare spot against the wall, which apparently always happens.
Right.
Which that stuff seemed in keeping with sort of the reputation of the family circus, like it being like, oh, everybody, kind of like other comic strips like that, like they'll do it every time, like every Christmas tree has a bald spot.
Yeah. That's true. I hadn't thought of that. I guess
I didn't mind it.
I was looking at more of like, the sense of tradition. I mean, that's like kind of a big element of this special, and that was kind of a nice little touch there. That because they showed like at the beginning that you see like them getting the Christmas tree, like them driving in the family station wagon, I think.
Oh boy!
Like, isn't it right before the?
That might have been cut from the version.
I think it's like right over the credits.
It's over
like
the
beginning.
during the credits. Okay.
It's not like an actual scene. It's just
it must
like
have been
a little shot of like the car coming with the classic Christmas tree tied to the roof or whatever.
Okay.
So
I'm sure.
So clearly they've got this thing. So I was thinking like that, and because he's like watering it later or whatever, or putting some kind of milkish water substance in the tree.
Some banshee tears.
Yes, but. So I got the impression that they do this every year. Yeah, but of course the tree always has. You're right, it has a spot. But it's a nice little scene. Of course, the dad's basically doing all the real work, while they're trying to help. But
PJ's doing a bad job with the tinsel.
Yeah, he's throwing like more than one stream at a time or something, which Jeffy has to call him out on.
Yeah, and then we're starting to move towards the crux of this thing, which is they can't find the star, which his dad made, and his dad has passed away.
Yeah,
Billy. Rightly being suspicious. He had water in his eyes.
Yes.
When he was talking about Granddad.
Yeah, his dad, Bill.
So, Billy sees that his dad might be that regular Bill might be a banshee.
Yeah, that was...
he knows what's going on.
It was touch and go for a while there.
Yeah.
I mean, he was starting to reach under the bed for some kind of like toy axe thing he had, and I was worried what he was going to do with that, and then... Thankfully, his mom talked him down from that.
Right. And he whispered to Dolly, "Hoard the gold."
Yeah, oh man, it was tense for a few minutes.
Right. So actually, yeah, you start to go, okay, well, this is different, and and he's sad about it. It's unclear exactly when. I mean, we learn later that he died before Jeffy was born, but I don't know if any of the kids knew him or.
Yeah, it's subtle. Like the whole way this is presented is surprisingly subtle again, because like you don't really see the dad sitting there sobbing, and they don't have a scene with it. But kind of like the emotion in his voice, you could tell that the star means something. And when they pull down all the boxes and they can't find it, he's a little distressed about it. And we sort of hear from, like the scene that you described, Billy saying that, like, Dad's eyes got watery. They showed a lot of restraint for, for family circus is something that's, considered, as generic as it is. There's some deft handling of some of these things in this show.
Yeah. Also, I got to mention this before we get to Jeffy's dream, that when the dad got home, they asked to build a snowman, and he said the snow was too dry.
Yeah.
And Billy said, yesterday you said the snow was too wet.
Yeah, that was good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and when they're decorating the Christmas tree, Jeffy gets tattled on for licking one of the candy canes, which I assume is not a real candy cane, but I don't know. And he's licking it because it has dust on it.
Yeah. Well, that might have been a tattle for his own good, really.
Yeah. But then he licks it again. And no one, maybe someone should have taken it away from him.
Wait a minute. Was that before or after he started having these visions of Santa Claus?
It was
Refresh my memory. Okay.
He'd already had 2 visions.
Because now that I think, he'd already had,
Now his next, the dream is quite more elaborate, so.
Yeah, there could be
yeah. So Billy and Jeffy, they share a room, and Jeffy's asking Billy questions about Santa.
Yeah, and actually, Billy has some pretty good answers of, sort of explaining the magic of
does.
Santa Claus.
That was touch and go, because I thought for a second, because he gets a look on his face, kind of like, I'm gonna tell him. I thought he was gonna, totally reveal the truth, whatever that might be.
Yeah,
I don't want to spoil
what he would perceive to be the truth.
Yes,
he'd be wrong, but
right.
See, I don't think he thinks that's the truth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But Jeffy wants to know how there can be a Santa Claus in multiple places, and Billy has a good answer for that, which I forget.
He says moving so fast.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's like the Flash.
So fast. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, his answers are pretty good. I mean, I might file them away myself for my kids.
Yeah. And then how does he get to all those places on Christmas? He stops time.
Yeah.
Again, like the Flash.
Right. Santa Claus, the Flash.
Right.
And then he asks,
the Clock King.
Yeah, and then he asks, how does Santa Claus go back in time? And he says, well, he vibrates his molecules at a certain frequency that lets him tap into the speed force, and then...
Yeah. But he shouldn't do that.
Right.
Causes problems.
Yeah, because Jeffy comes back over later. Billy, are alternate timelines reversible, or once you establish something in one timeline, will it always... No, he didn't
right, and then, yeah. Why is Barfy a cat now?
Yeah.
Santa Claus went back in time again.
Fortunately, that does not happen. We stick with the Family Circus Prime timeline. Goes on unperturbed in this story.
Yeah. And Jeffy says, this is when we first get introduced to the idea. He's gonna ask Santa to bring their grandfather down from heaven.
Yes.
And Billy's like, and Billy had told him that Santa Claus can do anything, and this is why he thinks he can do this. And he clearly doesn't have a full understanding of death and heaven and all of that.
Yeah, and just to back up a second to something you said a minute ago, my memory of the Family Circus characters is that Bill's their paternal grandparents. I always remember the granddad. I don't remember him being alive in the strip, but the grandmother is, and then both of her parents are alive and make appearances throughout the strip. So I kind of always remember granddad as sort of like just a memory. In the strip. So
yeah. So Jeffy falls asleep, and he has kind of a wild dream. Now it's all connected to stuff we've already seen, but he's flying with Santa Claus in his sled. Mm-hmm. The first stop on everything's on clouds. There's a candy cane farm, and the elves are working hard to harvest the candy canes. And Jeffy's like, why? Well, there's a dust storm coming. It's like, dust storm? Santa's like, you don't want dust on your candy canes, do you? Which is good. And
he's like, oh, just lick it off. What do I care?
yeah. And they're giant. Why are he jumps out of the sled. It's they also fly by a place building special snowman snow, so that everybody can have a white Christmas and build snowmen. There's another thing.
I don't remember offhand. I don't think the other thing he sees, but
yeah,
it's a nice little sequence.
Yeah, it's fun, and there are clouds, and there's this, and then Jeffy makes his wish. Like, that's where, to me, it turned from this very whimsical dream. Almost, it reminded me of some of those dreams that Homer Simpson has had, which of course are kind of based on older animation stuff anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like when he was imagining the land of chocolate and things like that.
Right.
And Jeffy's like bouncing around in the clouds and having fun in this song that we get a few times. I think it was in the opening credits too, which is Sarah Vaughan, famous singer, singing this song about dreamers But anyway, Jeffy had made the wish. He makes the wish to Santa, and even Dream Santa is a little skeptical of this wish.
Yeah, he's like, oh, wait a minute now.
And I did. I got to say, some of that dust storm made its way into my house, I think.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah, it was a little.
Yeah, it was touching. Yeah.
As we learned from science, you can't destroy matter, so he had to get rid of that dust storm somehow.
Yes.
So he just blows it into other people's houses.
That's a good explanation.
Yeah.
And the song is a very, kind of a very soft, but it is a big finish in this sequence, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that last high note she hits.
Yeah.
I think it nearly broke my glasses. I think I didn't have dust in my eye. I think I had glass in my eye because it's like ends in something like surprise, but it's like surprise, and it's like whoa. Kind of woke up anybody that might have been seen that as a lullaby. It wasn't a lullaby. Right. She woke us up on that one, but.
And it's definitely lyrically, it's definitely in support of Jeffy, which is, it's just about dreamers and don't let people take away your dreams and all of that.
A nice sentiment, to be sure.
Which once he wakes up and starts telling people what he wished for,
then they start trying to take away his dream.
Yeah,
at least downplay it.
Right.
Like, Jeffy.
Yeah, and so then we get the visit to Santa Claus, or as Dolly says, Santa. Yeah. She's a very particular way of saying Santa.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of fascinated by the voices. Because Jeffy occasionally has almost like a Baltimore accent. Not usually, but he does say no. Come on, hon. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Let's get Santa to put the star up on the tree. I need to watch this again now to pick up. I don't think I picked up on that.
Just listen. Right after that dream, he says something. It's like I know he can.
And then there's that scene where he starts talking to Dolly about Colts trivia, asking them to, demanding that she come up with the halfback on the 1959 Colts team.
Right. Yeah. With yeah.
But yeah, the kids are
Art Donovan shows up.
Yeah.
Right? I just had to get that. I was proud for remembering his name.
It's very nice. Yes. I'd like to have seen an animated Art Donovan wearing a Santa cap in this special. He would have fit right in. He could have been playing the Santa Claus, actually. With some of the befuddled looks that Santa Claus gives after the kids give him their requests would have gone well with Art Donovan.
Billy does okay. There's nothing weird about Billy.
Yeah, Billy doesn't. He's not going to sit in the lap. That's okay. I'll stand.
Right, yeah.
He doesn't go up on Santa's lap. He's like, that's okay. I'll stand. He's not going to waste time.
Yeah. Dolly's still coming up with stuff to ask for while in line.
Yeah, she's always thinking, looking around.
Yeah, and then she says something like, "Do you want to know the prices?"
Yeah, which is considerate of her.
Yeah, and Santa does a little take there.
Yeah.
And then Jeffy goes and he's like, "Well, you already know what I want."
It's like, yeah. Right. But I thought actually he actually starts.
He handles it, right?
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. He somehow prods him, and Jeffy explains what he wants.
Yeah.
He's like, well, you know, the fire truck and this and that.
Yeah.
And then he reveals his big wish, and even says he'll give up the fire truck for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you see, it's a present for his dad.
Right, it is a present.
For his dad, and he says, you know, if you could bring, you know, his granddad back from heaven, and
Yeah.
it's like, well, don't you already have enough presents for this, you know, all this stuff? And he's like, well, you can keep the fire engine if you.
Right.
So yeah,
And PJ freaks out,
Yeah.
which, you know, that's understandable.
Yeah.
He's a baby.
He is. So
And Bill can't find a good replacement star.
yeah, nothing
the
seems
mall.
to be quite right.
Yeah.
And I do want to mention too that Santa Claus, he didn't really exactly handle that. He just kind of said, "We'll see."
Right.
I mean, he kind of just like,
Yeah.
well, the parents are going to have a tough time explaining this one.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I think a seasoned department store Santa, or even Art Donovan as Santa Claus, should have been able to, you know, improvise or at least have a response ready for a question for something like that.
Right.
So I was a little disappointed with the Santa's performance there. I think he's kind of leaving that can of worms open to be resolved on Christmas morning by the parents. But he's probably making, you know,
So
$6 an hour trying to not get
peed on.
urinated on.
Yeah.
So can't blame him too much.
Yeah. What would be a good response? Just like, well, anything could happen.
Well, I
That's
think
not much better.
I think in that case, a good response would be something like, "Well, he's always." I would expect the Santa to say, "He's always with you. He's there in your hearts." I mean,
Yeah.
even if you can't physically touch him, you know.
Right.
So we'll find a way. If you wish really hard, and if you talk about him, then he will be there. He'll be there in the under the tree with you. If you talk to him and ask your dad to talk about him, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good response.
Well, see, and it just took me 10 seconds to come, and I'm not doing this for a living.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there,
But
Christmas time.
You're a parent, so.
True, and
That's,
actually, but it is kind of a tricky question, and
Yeah.
some of the themes in this make me kind of less likely to actually show this to my kids
Right.
this year, as a matter of fact. But it's not an easy thing, but you could do a little bit more than just say, well, we'll see, kid, see ya,
Yeah.
next.
So he's a better Santa than the Santa in A Christmas Story.
Yes, I would concur with that. Yes.
But maybe not.
He's better than bad Santa.
He's better than bad Santa. He's better than any Santas I remember.
Yeah.
Probably not as good as real Santa.
No, not as good as real Santa, and probably not as good as
Mickey
Rankin
Rooney.
Bass, Mickey Rooney,
Yeah.
Mickey Rooney Santa. Yes.
Right. So, and somewhere in there, Billy had also told Dolly about the Jeffy situation.
Yeah.
So she's clued in too. And finally, she rats on Jeffy. I mean, I think she's concerned, but she also, again, there's like a look. She's like, I wonder if Dad's gonna or Mom's gonna scold him.
Yeah,
and then she
gets this little
smiles.
Smile, like
yeah,
she likes the idea
Yes.
of Jeffy getting in trouble.
right.
Well,
But
that's not unrealistic.
No.
Yes. It's a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Especially around the holidays, she should be a little bit more charitable to her younger brother. But
right.
yeah,
And really, she is. She just doesn't know she's being charitable.
yeah, that she's doing as you've talked about in other things. She's doing the right thing for the wrong reason.
Right.
She just doesn't realize it. That's one of the fascinating elements of this
Yeah.
Christmas special. Is these characters doing the right thing for the wrong reasons. But yeah, that moment did stand out. That's clearly a little thing there. But
And then the mom's putting Jeffy to bed, and she kind of tries to explain it to him again. And then this is where the question of his Santa's being hallucinations or not, or imaginations or not, comes into play, because Santa and Granddad appear in the bedroom. Okay, maybe he's dreaming that or imagining that. Mm-hmm. Then he follows them
yes.
to the hall closet.
Mm-hmm.
And the Granddad, it was hard to see. The version I was watching, it was like, maybe because of the quality of it, it was a little hard to see some of that. But he points to something in the closet, and in the most tense moment of the entire special, Jeffy gets a card table,
Yeah.
puts a chair on top of it,
Yeah.
and then puts a toy xylophone on top of that.
A toy xylophone, yeah, with the legs that are barely standing up.
Right.
He's got to fix it because the xylophone collapses the first time he tries to set it up.
And he climbs on all that and is reaching for this box.
Very precarious.
Very
situation.
precarious. And I think his foot on the xylophone wakes up his dad. And his dad comes out. There's on the soundtrack, there are drums and everything.
Yeah.
And he catches it. I mean, he falls. Exactly what you think is going to
Yeah.
happens. He falls, but he retrieved the star. At which point the dad remembers, this happens, he put it in a safe place.
Yeah.
You remember where it was.
Yeah. Oops.
Oops. And then Jeffy explains what happened, and that Grandpa's there with them and everything.
Yeah, and actually that sequence is very reminiscent of some of the old family circus panels I remember, because there would be things where, like, maybe especially like in the Sunday strips or something, there'd be some element of peril where, and then the dad or the mom would kind of like be wiping their brow with sweat and like, we just made it or something like that, and then they would show like Granddad like his in that with a little, little outline, like kind of like smiling, and it would be clear that he was the one that like saved them, or he was the one that like woke up somebody to alert them that the other kid was about to be, something bad was going to happen. So it's a nice little nod to the source material, I would say. Okay. Like in the comic strip, under different circumstances, I could very easily see a situation where Granddad actually taps, Bill on the shoulder and wakes him up. Yeah. So that he goes and. Although in this case, Granddad was the one that Granddad should have given him an extra chair or something to stack up instead of, so he didn't have to result in a
or taking him to the ladder closet first.
Yeah, Santa and Granddad they got this one half right, but boy, they missed the boat on making a safe little tower for Jeffy to get that star. But the bottom line is he did get the star.
And then it seems like the family believes him, which I'm willing to buy. It was before the Santas seemed like, well, okay, it's a kid imagining this stuff, but then it's not a dream. So either his imagination, if you want to be like non-religious or supernatural about it, his imagination sparked a memory, and that's what led him there.
Could be,
or Santa and like you're saying from the comic strip, it seems like the Granddad is really there in some sort of spirit form,
like a guardian angel of some kind. Yeah.
So
and the family they're like, well, how in the world would Jeffy know that? Your memory idea is a good one actually that he made.
Because Jeffy's a dummy.
Yeah. If anybody, I'd trust PJ over Jeffy. Yeah. I trust Barfy over Jeffy. Barfy's sitting there the whole time. Right. He probably knew where the star was the whole time. He's like, they haven't given me a treat in 2 days. I'm not giving them the location of that star.
And they made me Barfy just because of that one time.
One time.
When I was a puppy.
You never live it down.
What do you name Sam Poopy?
Exactly.
Yeah. And then we get a little joke at the end, too. The cookies are gone.
Oh, yeah, because they pin over, like, they see Santa really did come, because the cookies and milk they left out are gone. They see, crumbs and, like, on the little plate left out. And then we see...
Behind a box, a package. Yeah. PJ's chowing down.
Yeah, PJ's awesome. Yeah. With a big grin on his face. Like munching the cookies. And I love PJ. He's got that little baby buzz cut, you know, and and actually there was a scene earlier that I enjoyed too, and again as a parent it kind of resonates a little bit, but they have the dad reading "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Oh yeah, that was
and they
nice.
keep interrupting him and everybody, and just like little things like the kids are saying, like, like, Dad, PJ has his foot on me, and he kind of does, but it's not really bothering him, but it is bothering him because that's kids just bother each other. Then Dad, can you start over again? Barfy missed the beginning because Barfy comes up, and then my favorite, like, Dad, Jeffy or PJ's looking at me. Jeffy says, and they just see, and PJ is looking at him, but like with no like just this total impassive expression, just like looking at him, and it bothers Jeffy for some reason. Yeah, and it's one of those things that this is like the one time in the special for some reason I laughed out loud at that because it just hit home. Like it was just one of those dumb things that like bothers kids for no reason. But so again, the foibles of family living, brilliantly explored in Bill Keane's comic strip, which has been savaged over the years by heartless people who ignore the wit of the early years and concentrate on the cliches that it fell into. But that was a little moment I just wanted to share because that was one of my favorites.
And somewhere around there too there was the bit where they were like they had all climbed on his back. Yeah, and he was like crouched. Right, they're like all four of them. Yeah, right. That was pretty awesome. Yeah, and I liked the way they were all on top of him and crawling around and stuff. That's definitely a good scene. Yeah, I mean just the whole and again I guess another ritual or tradition that they have.
him apparently reading "Twas the Night Before Christmas" is something that presumably they do every year.
Yeah.
And it's nice that they have these little, rituals, and that seems to be like a big part of this special is tradition, familiarity, and sort of maintaining these traditions and family ties, even with a family member that's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it a lot.
It's really well done special, actually. It doesn't have the cachet of some of these other ones that are on it. I don't think it's available on DVD. It clearly was available on VHS, as I mentioned, the version I watched.
Yeah.
And I should mention too that this is if you look around for it online, you should have no problem finding this if you want to watch it. And
might even end up in a certain YouTube playlist.
That is a distinct possibility. Yes, but it's not as far as I know. It hasn't gotten a DVD release, and again, haven't heard of it. Haven't heard about it in years, but
yeah,
it's definitely worth checking out. It's well done.
Yeah, and then we get another rousing version of that Sarah Vaughan song.
Oh yes,
yeah,
which I am not going to try to duplicate.
Right.
Although I was before recording. I think that was
Yeah.
enough. I think I may have injured myself attempting that earlier.
Yeah, I was looking at the voice credits. I already forgot them, except for that Jeffy was played by Nathan Berg.
Nathan Berg.
Yeah. I don't know if Nathan Berg went on to any other.
Yes, I think there might have been one or two names.
I think so. I think the Santa was a
sort of
recognizable
familiar,
name.
but
I'll see if I can
the
look
one
this
thing
up.
that I really liked about the credits were it listed everybody and then at the end, and PJ. So even though PJ doesn't have any speaking lines, they still give him his props in the credits, which I thought
he
that
didn't
was a
even
nice
make
touch.
any like baby noises, did he?
No grunts or giggles that I picked up on, but he's PJ.
That's all you need.
I would have liked to have seen Art Donovan play PJ. Come to think of it, there's some physical similarities there. The haircuts are about the same. The childlike, inquisitive nature of Art Donovan.
Let's see. Ann Costello played Mommy. Is that name familiar to you?
No, I do not believe that's any relation to Lou Costello.
Okay. Bob Caliban.
Yes,
Not Bob Balaban.
Not Balaban.
Caliban played Daddy. Mark Dermott played Billy. Missy Hope played Dolly. Nathan Berg played Jeffy. Alan Swift.
Alan Swift.
I know him.
Yes, he was in a lot of. He was the voice of.
He was in Diver Dan. Mad Monster. I think he's a regular Rankin and Bass guy.
Yes.
And Underdog.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
He was in the J Ward stuff as.
Pinocchio's Christmas. Yep. Family Circus. Little Drummer Boy. Yeah, he's in all of these.
Yeah, and this was Santa Claus, you say?
Yeah, it was Santa Claus. I think he might. I'm gonna see.
That's interesting because I don't remember anything particularly showy about this Santa Claus part. I mean, we're
Tennessee Tuxedo.
yes, okay, yeah.
He was the narrator.
I said J Ward. I should have said the Total Television stuff as Underdog and
Odie Coloni. Yeah, just a lot of people on those various. Like you said, yeah, the Total Television.
yeah. So the animation company that did this was like Cullen Enterprises or something like that, or I forget what the actual name is, but it's not a behemoth of animation, but they did several other specials like this, but I don't know of anything else that they.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's good to see Jeffy returned for all of the Family Circus. Nathan Berg was in all three of their specials.
Well, he hit it out of the park on this one. So
he did.
It's good that they brought him back.
Yeah, it looks like they used everyone. I imagine they probably maybe recorded everything at the same time.
Yeah.
And then they came out different years.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've never seen a lot of information about this special. Where's my giant coffee table book dedicated to commemorating a Family Circus Christmas? Because I would totally get that book. I would totally get Family Circus toys and all this kind of thing, ornaments, but it just hasn't happened yet.
I was gonna. I mean, all of our sponsors are, of course, real sponsors, but
Of course.
I had thought about doing a fake one about a Family Circus map app.
Yes.
It allows you to get somewhere in the most convoluted way possible.
Right.
That's the one thing this really was missing, like some
Yeah.
rendition of a
Like a
Family
little
Circus
sequence
map.
with like little black,
Yeah.
little black lines
Right.
showing a path. Yeah, and I seem to recall maybe they did that in one of the other ones, but or something like that.
I
but
hope so.
I'd have to.
I guess if they knew maybe they had been contracted for 3 of these, and so they didn't have to, do everything in one.
Yeah,
Feel like, oh, we got to get it all in.
that'd be interesting. And also, I didn't.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I did notice that as far as the animators go, like Bill's son Glenn, who has gone on to become went on to become like a Disney animator, who was instrumental, I believe, in like the character development of Little Mermaid and I think some other ones. But he's actually listed as one of the animators on this, so I'm not sure how old he was at the time. But this is his older son, Glenn.
Like, so he's not in the comic strip.
I think Billy is based on him. I think.
Oh, okay. He just changed his name.
Yeah, I believe.
Okay. I thought maybe PJ. Because I assume PJ is a nickname. Because he wears his PJs.
Well, I guess. Well, Jeff is the youngest son. I think. I don't think there is an equivalent of PJ in real life.
Okay.
PJ was just a gimmick. Bill Keane dreamed up when the strip was jumping the shark. He's like, I need to juice this up.
that year-long or 9-month-long pregnancy arc.
Yeah,
people forget about that. Yeah.
It was something. Yeah, and then the funny part about that is, you'll remember how that ended, Mike, is when they were in the hospital and somebody asked Thelma who the father was, and then you see "not me" and Bill saying "not me." The doctor saying "not me."
Right.
You see the little transparent "not me" with a devilish grin on his face, snickering.
Oh.
Anyways.
Controversial times.
See, people just don't know.
I know.
It was a different time back then. Family Circus got away with a lot more.
No one saw that coming. I mean, that's a long play there.
It's true.
Not only just years of the not me character, but just that arc, which was full of just like, why is mommy eating pickles and ice cream and those kind of things? Why is mommy fat?
Well, the whole nation was transfixed by that for 9 months.
Yeah.
Newspapers, circulation was up all over the place.
Right.
You remember there was a newspaper strike, I believe, in New York City, and I think there were some riots that were caused by the fact that people couldn't get access to Family Circus.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
They had to go to New Jersey to get it.
Yeah.
And nobody I love New Jersey, but people from New York, they don't like New Jersey.
They don't like New
It's
Jersey.
a fact.
Yeah,
it's another fact.
That shows you how intense the desire for Family Circus was, that they would drive a little bit into New Jersey.
They would drive into New Jersey. They would go into Wawa or other convenience stores, open the paper, read the Family Circus, and leave.
Yeah, and not buy anything.
And the traffic was snarled for weeks.
But at least on the way back, they could talk about Family Circus and that day's development. So it was kind of a bonding exercise for everybody, I guess.
Yeah, in between, like, yelling at each other, like, in traffic.
Yeah.
Flipping each other off.
It's the kind of thing, another thing that the internet has ruined, this kind of experience. Because nowadays you just go,
it's on your phone.
Bring it up, experience like 10 or 15 pop-up ads and see the panel and then move on with your life.
Yeah.
You don't have that period of water cooler talk as you did with this Family Circus infamous pregnancy storyline.
Right. And Family Circus is probably perfect for internet consumption because of the one panel structure. Like you can just look at it on your phone.
Oh, right.
You get the whole thing.
You don't need to scroll or swipe.
There's no
or
scrolling.
Anything. Yes.
There's none of that. You could have it on your Instagram, your Facebook, your Twitter.
And it's the perfect thing to share to your Facebook friends.
Yeah.
Like, hey, here's something that'll put a smile on the faces of everybody in my feed.
Look at all these likes I got.
This adorable thing that Dolly said to PJ today. There you go.
Especially if you don't have kids of your own.
Right.
Then you can just...
Well...
So your friends are posting things, real things, adorable things that their kids said. You just post what the Keanes said.
That is an acceptable substitute.
Yeah.
I will say that I have seen... Here's something that I have seen. I have seen cold-hearted people ridicule or criticize people that post pictures of their family members or use those as their profile picture. I have seen that.
I don't get
Here's what I have not seen.
Yeah.
I have not seen one person complain about somebody using a Family Circus photo as their profile picture or posting Family Circus panels. I've never seen that.
No. And you never will.
Well...
Because as much as the elite might mock it, anybody with a family knows it's, they're just getting the truth there.
Right. And anybody who's been to a circus knows that, again, it's truth.
Right.
I've always said, Mike, that there's two kinds of people in this world. There's people that like the Family Circus, and there's people who are made of stone. And I think this world needs a lot more of the first group and a lot less of the second group.
Yeah.
I'd like to think, our show here can lead to a little renaissance of this special, because we both seriously like this.
Right?
This special.
Yeah,
it's really good. It's much better than what Family Circus is now. If you've never seen this, I'd say give it a shot. You have to be in this. It's sentimental. It's warm. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not The Simpsons or something like that.
Yeah.
But it definitely holds up alongside some of those classic Christmas specials that you've probably seen a bunch of times already.
And it's a pretty real subject. I mean, explaining to younger kids death. Although, frankly, Jeffy doesn't learn that lesson.
He really doesn't. This may raise more questions than it answers for some families, but
he's going to go to kindergarten.
Yeah, he's going to tell everybody.
Right. Yeah. Dead people. Santa can bring dead people back.
Yeah. Right. They'd be like, right, Jeffy, and quit licking the chalk dust off those blackboard erasers.
But they're dusty. That's their job.
Yeah, indeed.
I could go for some dust right now.
Was that so?
When you get that mint flavor from the candy cane and the dust,
there's nothing like it. Nothing like it. That'll have you buzzing for.
Speaking of dust, in a minute we're going to do the TV guide game.
Exactly.
All right.
I think. This episode brought to you by Santa Brand Candy Canes, dust-free since 1893. This episode also brought to you by Not Me. We do the crime, no one does the time. This episode also brought to you by Snowman Snow. It's wet and it's dry.
Shows A to Z and the facts. What's behind what you see? TV Guide, the whole world of TV. That's entertainment. The stars underneath all the glow and the news from the people who know. TV Guide, it's a fabulous show. So buy a TV Guide and read TV Guide. That's entertainment.
Here we are. It's time for the TV Guide game. Do you want to briefly explain the rules again, in case we have new listeners?
Yes. The rules are as I go into my vast collection of vintage TV guides. Some may be a little dusty, but yes. These are original copies, and I'll pick out, or I'll read off some of the shows from a day we pick at random in this TV guide, and give the options that night. Mike is going to choose what he would watch if he were watching presented with these options, and I'm going to try to guess what he will pick. And usually we pick a TV guide kind of at random, but this time, in honor of our holiday special, we picked one from December 8th, or the week of December 8th through 14th, 1979, from the Chicago area, this edition. So we're hoping to get some good holiday specials in here.
Al Capone's Christmas.
It's quite possible. Al Capone's Christmas, yes. So
the meats of Christmas.
The meats of Christmas.
Yeah.
The Italian beef of Christmas. Yes, and when you're picking what you're going to watch, you can pick several times. Pick early and pick often which show you want to watch, Mike.
Right.
So we do not pre-do this anyway. We're kind of doing this as we go along, so to preserve the integrity of the game.
Who's on the cover of that? I know it's a painting of some kind.
This illustration. Is a montage. The cover story is talk show hosts. Who are TV's best and why? And it's got Johnny Carson, Merv Griffin, I think Mike Douglas, Dick Cavett, Phil Donahue, Tom Snyder, and I'm not sure who, somebody else I'm not sure who the other one is. But that's the cover story. There's a female on the lower left here that I can't quite identify.
That's not Rona Barrett.
I don't think so.
I don't know who that is. I'm surprised it doesn't say in tiny print.
Yeah, no, it just has the artist's signature. But
also, I just a feature I like. This is from the stapled era.
Yes.
Before they went to the square bound.
Yeah, these staples are hanging on barely, but they are hanging on. And the TV guide was 35 cents back in the day. Man. The old digest, the classic digest size format, yes, with staples, as Mike says. So, are you ready to play the TV guide game? Okay, I've decided to pick Friday, December 14th, 1979, and basically we're going to go through the three networks, maybe PBS and maybe some independent channels. If there's anything that stands out, I'll throw that in there. So we're starting off with Channel 2, which is CBS,
All right.
at 7 o'clock. And, this is Central Time, so
Right.
it's an hour earlier. It would be 8 to 11 East Coast time or...
Pacific.
Yes. So, 7 o'clock, leading off this Friday evening in prime time, Incredible Hulk. And on tonight's episode, we have a young doctor, Louise Sorrell, wants David to help her expose a voodoo healer. Ooh. Okay.
I don't remember that one.
No, and then on Channel 4, and actually Channel 4 and 17, which I'm thinking that is NBC. Yes, it's NBC. Shirley, comedy drama. And interesting, a 60-minute show, and there's an ad for that in here. It's Shirley Jones from the Partridge Family.
Okay.
I do not remember this show at all, but
Oh.
yes, on tonight's show, Shirley tries not to panic the kids when a physical examination reveals she has high blood pressure. And also in the cast is Tyne Daly as Athena, and get this, as Deborah Rosanna Arquette.
Wow.
And it looks like Dutch is John McIntyre, who I'm assuming is the John McIntyre who was on The Naked City back in the 60s. So.
Huh.
And there's an ad here I can show you. The headline, Shirley is ill and the medicine is laughter. 7 o'clock p.m., Shirley Jones as Shirley. And the text is, Shirley's doctor confines her to bed. What's wrong? The kids misunderstand and get a bad case of runaway imagination.
Oh, boy.
And here's a picture of Shirley looking worried, or a sketch of Shirley Jones.
It's like a stippled sketch of her. She does look worried.
Yeah, she's fretting.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, I don't remember this show.
Yeah, interesting. And also, according to the ad, Tracy Gold, later of Growing Pains fame, was in this show too. She's listed in the cast.
Oh.
So wow. Okay, on Channel 5. Okay, this is why I was a little confused. Another NBC station. This edition had some Chicago, Milwaukee, and Madison channels too.
Okay.
So this is interesting.
Is it a different show?
This is another NBC channel is not showing Shirley, but is showing "'Tis the Season to Be Ollie." It's a special. A one-off, the Kuklapolitans join together once again for the holidays. This time, Ollie does some far-out dreaming on how he can celebrate Christmas. So it looks like it's a Kukla, Fran, and Ollie Christmas special. That's kind of interesting.
And that's the lamb chop thing?
No, it's
something
separate.
else.
That's Sherry Lewis and Lamb Chop.
Sherry
This
Lewis.
is separate. These were kind of the same
puppets.
era, maybe a little bit early, but
Okay.
yeah. Fran was the puppeteer, and Kukla and Ollie were the puppets.
What
You
are-
know what? And actually, I think that was originally Chicago-based, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yeah, later in the next time block, they go in with the NBC night of affiliate. So this was just like a local preemption, I guess, of Shirley.
Yeah.
Moving on to ABC, we get Donnie and Marie.
Ooh.
A Donnie and Marie Christmas special. And here's the description of that. Dorothy Hamill, Eric Estrada, Cindy Williams, and Adam Rich join
Holy
Donnie,
mackerel.
Marie, and the entire Osmond family in a Yuletide celebration. Highlights include Adam and Donnie doing a spoof of the 12 Days of Christmas, Dorothy skating to Marie's rendition of This Christmas Eve, and Cindy bungling chances to meet potential dates at a ski lodge. And I believe there's a full page.
Hey, Cindy.
No, there's a half page.
Sorry.
Here's what's going on here. Cindy Williams, you see Eric Estrada, Santa Claus, the Osmonds.
Yeah. That's wow.
That's an extravaganza.
I think you might have an easy choice.
Yeah.
Guess there. So these are all hour-long things too, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's true so far, yes. And let's see. Rounding it out with, so we've got CBS, we've got NBC, we've got ABC, and let's see if there's anything on PBS interesting. Washington Week in Review. So there you go, in case you're...
With Mark Russell.
Perhaps. And an independent station has Why the Bears Dance on Christmas, which is an animated musical tale, which I've never heard of before. Interesting.
You don't know.
Bashful Bear meets the dirt-spreading, smog-making Snurps. So this is socially relevant, we know right now. The Snurps want to spoil the world and Santa's Christmas Eve ride. So that's on a local independent.
Snurps.
And at 7:30 on PBS, we follow Washington Week in Review with Wall Street Week.
Oh.
Just for...
Yeah.
And on that independent station, Channel 15, that had Why the Bears Dance on Christmas, at 7:30, it's Norm Crosby's The Comedy Shop with Bill Saluga and Sal Richards.
Ooh, Bill Saluga.
Yeah, well, might have a contender there. Okay, so let's move on to 8 o'clock, shall we?
Okay.
On CBS, we've got The Dukes of Hazzard. In this episode, Boss Hogg is conned into a scheme involving $3 million in fake gold bullion.
Biting Dinty Doyle.
I don't see anybody interesting in the guest cast. The usual suspects with Roscoe, Enos, Jesse.
Oh, sounds like it might be a period where Luke and Duke were.
They're in there as well.
Luke and Bo were on a break.
No,
Okay.
Bo and Luke are in this one as well. Yes,
Okay.
sorry. On NBC, after Shirley, we've got the Rockford Files. Two klutzy punks try to break into the rackets through a reformed mob boss. And that's all they have for Rockford. And don't see anybody except Simon Oakland, who I think was in Kolchak, is in the guest cast of that episode. So let's move on to CBS. Following The Incredible Hulk, we've got Perry Como.
Wait, I thought the Dukes were on CBS.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. This is ABC.
ABC, Perry Como.
Perry Como seems like more of a CBS guy in my defense, but
Yeah.
he was on ABC at the time. And it's Christmas in New Mexico. And actually, they give this one a close-up.
Oh.
It's Como is joined by Anne Murray, Buffy St. Marie, Joyce DeWitt, and Greer Garson in Land of Enchantment settings that include the plaza in Santa Fe, where craftsmen display their work, flamenco dancers perform, and a high-kicking chorus interprets a number called Why Do They Call It Chili When It's Hot, Hot, Hot? A ghost town that's spruced up for holiday festivities and an Indian reservation where descendants of the cliff-dwelling Puyes celebrate the season with ceremonial dances. And it looks like Joyce DeWitt is in there. Anne Murray singing Silver Bells, Broken Hearted Me, Star Walker, We Need a Little Christmas, all kinds of songs there.
Yeah.
And there's an ad for that one, but I'll show you that one in a minute because there's another special following this one apparently on the same channel.
Okay.
And on PBS, Chicago Week in Review.
A lot of weeks in review here.
Yeah, PBS is really, they're summing up the whole week for you
Yeah.
at the end of the week. And following that, Black and White by Chance. Students from Chicago's Morgan Park High School give their viewpoints on school desegregation. This is 1979.
Hard hitting.
Yeah, that's
Hosted by Marvin Kaub.
it's. I don't see that,
No,
but this is
please.
PBS, so it could well be. But man, 1979, they're still talking about desegregation.
Yeah.
That's kind of sad. But okay, so that takes us to 9 o'clock, where on CBS we get Dallas. Bobby fears that Pam has become obsessed with Sue Ellen's baby. JR drilling for oil hits a gusher. That seems kind of odd to me. I mean, I'm assuming that's not a metaphor of some kind, but he's out in the field like
He's an oil man.
Yeah, but it makes it sound like he's out there, with a tank top on and a hard hat, actually drilling for oil.
Maybe he is. Maybe he's got a little of that. I don't know Dallas well enough to know, but a little of that old oil man spirit.
Could
Where
be,
you go and
goes
dig the oil first. Yeah. Like the patriarch of that family seemed kind of like a rough and tumble guy, right?
That's true. I would like to see JR with that 10-gallon hat out there,
Yeah.
in an oil field, drilling for oil.
But still being like just like, oh, hey, it's a gusher.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Seducing some,
Of course.
the one woman working on the
Yes.
crew.
Right. So that's CBS, and doesn't seem to be anything interesting about that one other than the description I gave you.
Yeah.
On NBC, the short-lived series Eyeshide. The public outcry over a one-day rash of bank robberies puts intense heat on the department, and Eyeshide is Joe Don Baker.
Ooh.
And
How do you
wait a
spell
minute now.
that?
Eischied, crime drama. Now let me tell you something else here that, wow, this is interesting. Playing Kimbrough in the cast is Alan Fudge.
Oh.
And in the guest cast, Joyce is played by Belinda J. Montgomery, who, if I'm not mistaken, she was also on Man from Atlantis with Alan Fudge.
She was the
Yes.
the female lead.
Yes, I think she was. So
Wow. Maybe some of the same producers.
it could be. This is like it's a little
When
Man
is
from
this?
Atlantis
What-
rerun.
What year is this again?
1979.
79, and Man from Atlantis was like 78 or 77.
Yeah, I think a year or two before this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like a little mini reunion.
Ah,
Just saying, just pointing that out.
interesting.
Moving on to ABC. Merry Christmas from the Grand Ole Opry House. From Nashville, hosts Robert Urich and Lonnie Anderson welcome musical guests Larry Gatlin, the Gatlin brothers, like how they'd list them separately, Barbara Mandrell, Louise Mandrell,
Well, only two of them.
the Statler brothers, Wendy Holcomb, Ronnie Millsap, and the Smoky Mountain Kids. In a scene commemorating a Civil War Christmas, Robert sings and recites Henry Wadsworth Longfellow's I Heard the Bells.
Wait, who does that?
Robert Urich.
Robert Urich. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
Man, the man could do it all.
God.
And PBS has a documentary called Home. This documentary explores the meanings of home and family for 4 families at telling moments: birth, aging, marriage, and death. That sounds like a ball of fun.
Yeah, it's the Keane family.
Yeah, exactly. All right, now, in the interest of full disclosure, here's an ad for Dallas. Pam takes over as mother. A frightened Sue Ellen rejects her child, and Pam is obsessed with motherhood. And it asks, does Sue Ellen love her baby? And there you can kind of see. We'll scan this later for everybody. But
I can't tell from that ad.
if Sue Ellen loves her baby or
Yeah,
not.
I don't even know which.
It looks like
Pam is Victoria.
Pam is holding.
Principal,
Yeah,
right?
she's holding the baby, and Sue Ellen is looking at like, why are
Yeah.
you holding my baby?
Right.
It's
It's
very.
also
common.
looking a little bit like these 2 photos are unrelated.
Yeah, yes, it does look like that, doesn't it? All right, now there's the ads for the ABC night of Christmas, Perry Como's Christmas in New Mexico, and right below that is Merry Christmas from the Grand Ole Opry House, and it says, country music's biggest stars bring you a swingin', singin', foot stompin' holiday special. And we see a smiling Robert Urich and Lonnie Anderson looking like the most attractive pair of co-hosts you'd ever want to see. And
Perry Como.
Perry Como ain't looking too bad either.
Oh, your fingers on his face.
Oh, sorry. My apologies.
Yeah, he looks very Perry Como.
He does. Joyce DeWitt getting billing over Greer Garson and Anne Murray there, too. So,
Joyce DeWitt from Three's Company.
yes, indeed, the very same. So
All right,
I think I need to make my decisions. Would you like to see the TV guide for visual aid or any...
No, I'm.
All right, so let's see here, folks. What do I think Mike will pick in each of these? There's some tough choices here, actually. I should mention that for any new listeners, you're certainly welcome to play along in this portion of the... Yeah, I think we've given you enough time to get a pencil and paper and write down. So,
Yeah.
And also feel free to rewind too if you need to hear
Right.
those choices again.
And if you're driving, feel free to do any of those things too.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
Right. Even one of those little pads on your dashboard for jotting down ideas.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm
going to tell you one of these hours is really tough.
Yeah, there's some interesting choices here, and there's. It's very tough for me too. I don't know here. I think I know which hour
I've made my decisions.
we're picking. Okay, let me make sure that I write down my choices, so that again to preserve the integrity of the game, of course. Now I've got one more decision to make, and I think I've. Wow. Okay, so I've got we got 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. covered, and I've written down and taken the time to put them in a sealed envelope, which I don't know why I did that because I'm just gonna have to rip it back open in a minute here.
Right.
But the point is, I've made my choices.
Okay.
Are you ready to reveal what you picked?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, it's 7 p.m. What did you go
Am I
with?
revealing or are you revealing your guess?
Oh,
Don't remember how we did. I think you should reveal your guess.
yes.
and I'll
Okay,
tell you.
that's good.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
you can, okay, it's 7 p.m. I picked. I figured that you would pick the Incredible Hulk.
Really? I thought I tipped my Santa hat to no, I definitely went for the Donnie and Marie. It was just so... There's a good chance we might be talking about that for next Christmas, I think. Based on the guest stars, I mean, it's just so in the wheelhouse of this show, but...
That's a good point. Adam Rich.
yeah. And some of these, the regular shows sound like they might be repeats.
They are not. They're not listed as repeats.
Okay. Yeah. So Adam Rich, Eric Estrada, and Cindy Williams, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I should have realized that the chance to see Eric Estrada sing "Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow" with
Yeah.
Marie Osmond would have been too much to resist.
Now that because I didn't know he sang until I watched a clip on our YouTube channel,
Yes.
the Chips playlist of him singing "Celebration."
Yeah.
Cool in the Gang "Celebration," with a lot of aplomb.
Indeed. Yeah. I should have gotten that one. I guess I was thinking that it might have been more interesting to think about that rather than actually watch. But
Well,
I'll
probably.
give you.
I mean, that Hulk, I might end up watching that Hulk in a day or two on Netflix.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, so I got that one wrong.
Okay.
But I'm kind of glad I did because I'm glad that you want to watch that Donnie Marie because I think that's what I would have picked too.
Yeah.
I'm curious about Shirley though.
I am curious about Shirley. I almost forgot about that.
Not enough
Yeah.
to pick that one, but yeah.
Curious. I know we have at least one Shirley Jones fan in the audience who maybe remembers that show.
Yeah, feel free to let us know.
Right.
Okay, we're ready to move on to 8 p.m.?
Yep.
This is the one I thought was the hardest one to pick.
Hmm.
Nothing really stood out to me. Me personally, I would have a tough choice here. I picked Rockford Files, just because it's Rockford Files.
Yeah, I actually went with the Christmas special.
You went with Perry Como?
Perry Como. I think the Rockford sounded like it might just be a generic kind of Rockford.
True.
And the Dukes definitely sound like a generic.
Right.
Dukes.
You've seen one, yeah.
And I don't know that I really want to watch a Perry Como special, but the Anne Murray thing, my mom was a big fan of Anne Murray, so that's part of it too.
And the chance to see beautiful New Mexico.
New Mexico, nothing says Christmas like deserts.
Indeed. And
New Mexico is beautiful.
I think I steered away. You know why I think I went away from that is because after I mentioned why do they call it chili when it's hot, 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 I paused for laughter and got no reaction. So
I was taken aback by the idea of Perry Como singing something that up tempo.
Fair enough.
Because most of what I remember about Perry Como at this point is the SCTV version of him, where he's like reclining on a pillow.
Well, this is not that version of Perry Como. This is he's ready to have a swinging good time. It looks like
right
with Joyce DeWitt.
Now, to be true, if we were actually looking at like if in 1979, there's a pretty good chance I would have picked the Hulk and the Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah,
that was a powerhouse Friday night there.
It sure was.
Although I remember watching Donnie Marie plenty too. So
okay,
I don't know. The next hour is actually the one that was tough for me.
All right then. Well, I feel like a Scrooge right now because I picked I Shied.
No, that's where I turned and also picked that. I'm saying you chose the correct thing.
Oh, okay.
It was tough, and I think the thing there was one. I had already chosen 2 hours of Christmas music.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I could have taken another hour, even with Robert Urich.
Even with two of the Mandrell sisters?
Maybe that's part of the problem. There's only two of them.
Yeah, that leaves you wanting there, doesn't it?
Yeah, you need that third one. I mean, it sounds like a pretty spectacular show.
It sure does.
But curiosity, like just not knowing enough about the I
Shied.
I Shied.
The only thing I've never seen this show. I've seen like old promos of it on YouTube.
I think the only reference I know is that Mystery Science Theater 3000, which I watched like within the last year or so.
The Mitchell?
Yeah, Mitchell.
Joe Don Baker.
Because I think they say that a bunch of them.
Yeah,
I Shied.
That's, yeah. I mean, Joe Don Baker alone has to be worth it.
That was great. And then you add in Alan Fudge.
You throw in Alan Fudge and Belinda Montgomery, and it's...
Great Alan Fudge.
Yes, Alan Fudge, man.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I got 1 out of 3 right, but
three.
You were a little bit more festive than I was. You were picking the Christmas specials, and I kind of wasn't thinking that direction. So I feel a little guilty about that on our holiday special. Maybe I should have known a little bit better.
Well, and I feel like even what I said about the time, it's like I might have been aware enough to go, well, that Hulk will be on again.
Yeah.
And that Dukes of Hazzard will be on again.
But you only got one chance to see Perry
Probably,
come
yeah. There's like those kind of variety specials. Only they would do a new one the next year, maybe.
That's a good point. Yeah, they wouldn't be rerun. Yeah.
Right, and especially because there's a chance Adam Rich, Cindy Williams, and Eric Estrada could have been done by 1980.
Yeah.
Or Donnie and Marie, for that matter.
Yeah, good point. And in fairness, Joe Don Baker is pretty jolly. You can kind of see him as a merry figure for the holiday season.
Yeah, he supplied the voice for Santa in one of those Rankin and Bass specials.
Yeah,
right?
he must have. I'm pretty sure he did.
Santa's Southern Christmas.
Yes, and I know you steered away from PBS on this Friday night.
It is not a stunning night for PBS.
Not one of their more dynamic efforts, but
yeah,
I will give them this. They were providing programming that commercial television was not providing on this Friday night.
That is very true. I was curious about the Kukla, Fran, and Ollie, and the thing with the bears, but
yeah, I've never heard of that Bears Christmas special, so that's interesting.
Although it sounded a little too PBS.
The Bears one?
The ecological part of it.
Oh,
yeah.
yes. Well, they had to get some social relevance in there.
And I figure that the Donnie and Marie might have had some puppetry somewhere in it.
Quite possible.
Was that a Sid and Marty Krofft?
I think the show, they did a
there's a
TV show
connection.
that I think was, but I don't know about these specials.
Oh, okay.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Perhaps. I just don't know. I mean, we may find out next year.
Right.
Well,
Another.
well played, Mike.
Yeah.
Well played.
Yeah.
I think it's a. You would have had a remarkable pre-Christmas night of viewing with these choices. So
Yeah. Based on glancing at that cover, I think TV Guide thinks Phil Donahue is the best.
he definitely has the prime
Yeah.
the prime location. He's holding like a microphone that's gleaming, like his microphone that he carried around. It's almost like he's trying to hypnotize me.
Yeah.
It's a little jarring now that I look at it closer.
Is the collar there?
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, wait a minute. I figured out who the missing person is.
Yeah.
I had all of them other right. That's Dinah Shore.
That's Dinosaur.
It does not look like Dinah Shore. It actually looks to me like current longtime ESPN Sports Center anchor Linda Cohn is who it looks like to me.
Huh.
But yes, it's supposed to be Dinah Shore. Which,
Well, between Dinah Shore and Lonnie Anderson, there's a subtle Burt connection here.
yes, that's right.
The many loves of Burt Reynolds.
All roads lead back to Bert.
Is Sally Field in there somewhere?
She's got to be in here somewhere.
Yeah.
And Bert guest hosted for the Johnny Carson, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Burt Reynolds should have done a Christmas special.
Dom DeLuise.
This is kind of like a mini what we'd like to see.
Yes.
I would like to see a Christmas special, a very Burt Christmas, with Burt, Dom DeLuise, Charles Nelson Riley,
Yep. Jerry Reed.
Jerry Reed.
Yeah. Jackie Gleason even. Think he
You
would be-
can get him in there.
He could do one of his soft shoe numbers.
Oh yeah, sure. And maybe like some good stunts, like a stunt Santa crashing like a
sleigh.
group of a sleigh, jumping over like a billboard or something.
Right, yeah. Yep, I want to see that.
Yeah, if it exists, let us know, people, so that
Yeah.
we can review it.
Right. Maybe the framing device would be, it would be Bert. It would be them, like, at Bert's house.
Yeah.
It's how your Christmas special's got to go. But I think there would be, like, maybe even like a Smokey and the Bandit sketch.
I could see that, definitely.
Yeah. Where they kind of, Smokey and the Bandit, they make peace for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they could have the bandit going after somebody that's speeding around, and it turns out that it's Santa Claus. One of those things where Dom DeLuise,
Smokey, yeah.
Dom DeLuise dressed up as Santa Claus.
And maybe he gets arrested, and
Yeah.
Smokey, or the bandit and Snowman have to deliver the presents.
Yeah. And eventually,
We got to drive around the world in 24 hours.
yeah, and Smokey, Jackie Gleason gets a chance to kind of redeem himself or let him go,
And you know what that means?
What's that?
If there's all this Smokey and the Bandit stuff, Paul Williams and Pat McCormick have to be there.
There you go. Yeah,
Right.
I like it.
Little Enos posing as an elf.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It sounds like a winner to me.
Yep. Is it too late? Well, some of these people are gone.
We can't retroactively create this.
No. But some of them are still around. Many of them.
Some of them may be listening to our show here.
Maybe there's another latter day Jackie Gleason. I don't know, Brad Garrett.
Brad Garrett could do it, yeah. Sure, I'd buy that.
Is Brad Garrett as graceful as Jackie Gleason?
No, I wouldn't call him as graceful as anybody, really. I don't.
Yeah.
But that's not a word I would use associated with Brad Garrett. But
Right.
yeah, he might be able to pull it off. The important thing is that somebody gets Bert's ear. Bert, if you're listening to this,
Yeah.
Merry Christmas, first of all.
Right.
Second of all, we love you.
Yeah.
Third, let's make this happen.
Right. And fourth, we'll also be celebrating Merry Burtmas.
We will.
Yeah.
With Christmas episodes of Evening Shade.
Yeah.
It's a little outside our timeline for the podcast, but that doesn't
Right.
mean we can't enjoy it.
That's right.
And maybe a B.L. Stryker Christmas mystery. Who killed Santa Claus? B.L. Stryker will figure it out.
There we go.
again, an idea whose time had come 30 years ago, and unfortunately it apparently came and went.
Okay, well, we're going to drink some more eggnog, and
Yeah, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, everybody.
from all of us here at Battle of the Network Shows.
Yes.
Nothing gets you into it like TV Guide.
A quick program note before we wrap up the show. This is the last episode of Season 1 of Battle of the Network Shows. We will be back in January with a look back on Season 1 and more details on when you can expect Season 2 to begin. In the meantime, keep an eye on our webpage, Facebook, and Twitter for more content and more details on what's to come. Thanks for listening.
Join us next time for another exciting episode of Battle of the Network Shows. Learn more, leave feedback, and suggest future episodes at battleofthenetworkshows.com. Follow us on Twitter at BatNetShows, and like our Facebook page, facebook.com/battleofthenetworkshows.
Billy, guess what happened to me last night? You saw Santa again? How did you know? I took a guess. Santa took me for a ride in his sleigh. And I saw where they grow candy canes and make snowmen snow. Jeffy, you were dreaming. I wasn't. I asked him for a present for Daddy. Aftershave lotion? No.